Welcome into Buffalo Bills Weekly, where we're giving you the latest from One Bills Drive. He's Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. The Bills came back from a 21-point deficit to beat the Patriots last week. It's their fourth second-half comeback this season. Buffalo turns into the best versions of themselves in the second half, outscoring opponents, forcing takeaways. Head coach Sean McDermott says, "I don't love that we live this way, but you can't ignore there's something good about this team in the second half."
Yeah, they've been really outstanding pretty much from front to back on the schedule so far this season. And I know Josh Allen deservedly should get a lot of the credit for the second half effort this past week. He was fantastic, but this was a total team effort. I mean, it started with special teams lighting the fuse on the long return to start the second half. The run game had traction, the tight ends were involved, and then on defense, they got stops, sacks, the only takeaway in the entire game, and the offense was perfect in the red zone. If they play total team football like that the rest of the way, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Buffalo's offense is winning in different ways as of late. Josh Allen is targeting the tight ends and running backs in the passing game. They've brought a spark to the offense. Since week 8, they're second in the NFL with 1,015 receiving yards. Defenses aren't expecting them to throw out of heavier personnel. Why have they tapped into this in the second half of the season?
Well, I think Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, to his credit, felt they needed to. They weren't getting the consistency in the passing game from their wide receiver room on a week-to-week basis. That was partly due to the myriad of injuries that room has had through the course of the season. Joe Brady hasn't had the same 5 guys at receiver from one week to the next for the balance of the season. So tap into the guys that are available, that are getting the reps every week in practice with Josh. And then I think, look, they're a short to intermediate passing game largely anyway, so why not tap into backs that can make people miss in space and the tight ends that are very good in the short to intermediate areas. And to your point, the heavier formations makes them more unpredictable. Oh, heavy formation, number one running game, here comes the run. Yeah. You use play action, and that allows the tight ends and the backs to get better separation when you're faking the pass and you're back to make a throw, or faking the run and back to make a throw. So I think it's been very effective going forward, and there are some potential playoff defenses that they might be facing that are weak in areas of covering tight ends and running backs. So getting all this run up now may prove very fruitful in the postseason.
And practice it now and have it pay off in the postseason. Buffalo's tight ends have also had success in the red zone as of late. Dawson Knox had 2 touchdowns against the Patriots. That tall frame is really tough to guard. Buffalo's defense was again stellar in the second half with the adjustments that they made. Drake May, the most efficient passer in the game. In the second half, he was confused by the looks Buffalo was throwing at him. First half, the Patriots scored on 4 of their first 5 possessions. Then they were forced off the field on 4 of their next 5. What confused May the most?
I think it's variety, in a word. Coach McDermott, Bobby Babich, they really spun the dial on him. They never really gave him the same look twice, particularly on second and third down after they would get a positive play on first down. Long down and distance, behind the sticks, now you can get exotic. And it wasn't just from one play to the next that they were changing coverages on Drake May. They were changing coverages front side, back side on one play. So it might be man on the front side, zone on the back side. So it wasn't just play to play, it was within a play they were mixing coverages as well. And I think the other key thing that they did in the second half, they went with more of a cage rush on him in passing situations, which we've seen them do to Lamar Jackson to keep him hemmed in the pocket. May ran for 2 touchdowns in the red zone. They didn't want to leave those lanes open to him, so they hemmed him in, and he was forced to either throw the ball or take a sack. It was May's lowest passer rating of his career last Sunday.
May has been great this season with his efficiency. It was great to see the Buffalo's defense get the best of him in the second half. Another area that's brought a spark to Buffalo's team as of late is the return game. Ray Davis has shown up right on time against the Patriots, averaged 41 yards per return. And over the season, 32.4 yards per kick return. That's the best in the NFL. How has he been able to find those gaps and hit the holes at the perfect time?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ray is a good fit for kick return because, as we know, he's a one-cut downhill runner on offense. And on kick return, when you see the hole, you've got to put your foot in the ground and hit it. So Ray's skill set, I think, caters very well to the kick return game. But secondarily, we have to give special teams coordinator Chris Tabor some credit here. Ever since the Houston game where Ray took it back 97 for a touchdown, that whole unit is inspired to hang on to their blocks an extra half second because they know the guy behind them can go. But then he threw in some wrinkles, Coach Tabor did last week. He goes with a single returner last week instead of two, with just Ray back there. And then he has Reggie Gilliam as an up man, a better blocker in the formation. He even had Alec Anderson out there as an up man to start the second half for that 58-yard return, which sparked the comeback.
Hey, field position is such a big deal in the NFL, especially in December and January games. Don't go anywhere, because when we return, you're hearing the best sound from the week, and Mitch Morse's Morse Code is coming up later.
No, I haven't thought about it. I do like highlight tapes, but I don't like being a part of other people's highlight tapes. I mean, he's an absolutely tremendous football player. He's one of the greatest of all times. And yeah, I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with, and we got to be ready for everything that they can throw at us. But you have to be aware of where 95's at all times.
About his style of play, just what he's able to do.
I mean, he's the biggest guy out there. He's the fastest guy out there. His ability to get off blocks, his motor is higher than really anybody else that you'll ever play. He can beat you with speed and power. I mean, he's just the all-around football player.
Yeah, I think it's just a great opportunity to have an opportunity to stop the run. You know, they're a good rushing attack, and you know, we kind of slacked a little bit in our run defense a little bit, so it's a great opportunity for us to show up and you know, clear the air.
What makes Josh Allen so difficult to defend and just such a tough challenge for you?
I think because he's a great passer and a great runner, so he's able to really do it all. So able to extend plays and run around and still keep his eyes downfield and make that throw, but also once he does cross that line of scrimmage, he's able to run, and you know, he's a bigger quarterback, he lowers his head and able to make plays in that aspect. So definitely top 5 quarterback in his league, and been doing a great job for them.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important because you can't think about what you did a few days ago. There's a game that needs to be played this next Sunday, and regardless of what we do, you got to flip the script fast and move on to the next. I mean, it's kind of what we do, right? Every week you got to play a football game, you know, so there's no holding on to the past and what we did and how we were able to come back. We have a 24-hour rule. Obviously, you celebrate it after the game, but after that, it's on to the next.
What makes Josh Allen so difficult to defend against? I mean, some of it's obvious, but I mean, what are you seeing?
Yeah, where do you start, Mary Kay? I think he's very good at all of it. You know, whether it's on schedule, the ability to make the throw to every area of the field, whether it's off schedule, to buy time and throw the ball to every area of the field, or run. And when he runs, he's like a fullback out there. So really no weakness in his game.
What challenges does Cook present, just being second in the league in rushing yards?
He's outstanding. The speed on every run scheme to play between the tackles or bounce it to either side. He uses all 53 1/3 of the field. Really, really talented player.
Oof, it's tough. I mean, there's only so many things you can do, right? You watch people who try and chip Myles, and you're going, and I'm watching the same, you know, tapes that I mentioned earlier here to John, and you're saying you can chip him. You can almost put sometimes 3 people I see on him, and he just runs through it all. You know, he's just powerful, big, explosive, fast.
Welcome into another edition of Morse Code, where Bills legend Mitch Morse helps us break down the games and look ahead to what's next on Buffalo's schedule. Mitch, the Bills had an epic victory over the Patriots last week. They were down 21-0 to start the game, but Buffalo's offense started to rely on the run game, and it started to all come together. 28 points scored in the second half. What was the biggest difference in the second half play call?
I mean, it just seemed like everything, Maddy. It was from top to bottom. We've always hammered the fact that this season has been the Bills are a second half team, halftime adjustments, yada, yada, yada. But man, if this wasn't the pinnacle of all those talking points we've exhausted the last few months, it was amazing. And you know what? It's just a testament to the mindset that these guys have, which is that they're never out of a game. And it's a mindset that's not easily gained, but easily lost. And these guys, time and time again, have just hammered that home that they're never out of the ball game. And that, I mean, they're going to make you sweat it out. My resting heart rate that first quarter was, 100 beats per minute. And then the second half was like 125. It's a roller coaster experience to watch the guys. But I'll tell you what, all that matters is that they get a win in the win column. And time again, these guys have proven that they can do that in these big games. And now we get to see it on the road, which was exceptional.
Yeah, now 4-3 on the road going into that matchup. They're just 3-3, so good to see they have a winning record on the road now. Their point differential in the second half is insane, and one reason why they've been able to score so many points in the second half is because Josh Allen is targeting his tight ends and running backs in the passing game. Since week 8, the running backs and tight ends are second in the NFL in receiving yards over that time span. Why do they make life so hard for opposing defenses?
Yeah, Maddy, what was fun was I got to watch your Maddy's Awards and that new father energy you talked about, which is something that's exceptional in this league. And I can't put my finger on the reason, but it's the truth. Like Dawson Knox has played out of his mind. But if we're speaking technically, this team, they feast in the pass game. Although we saw probably the most true drop back passes this past game, they love the play action. They love the gap scheme. They love running these play actions out for these run heavy formations, and that just opens up the running backs and tight ends when you do those cell fakes. So it's been great. And also like just lean into your strengths. I'm not saying I'm not the believer that the receiving core of this group is a weakness. I think they have some really good players on that receiving core. But Josh is comfortable throwing to those tight ends and ditching those running backs when he needs to. And, if that's how this team gets those big chunks, they're not a big 50, 60-yard bomb team, that's okay. As long as they're getting in the end zone, who gives a diddly?
And it's been awesome to see Joe Brady set some of this stuff up. You play in heavy personnel throughout a big part of the season. You're running the ball out of heavy, and then you start throwing the football out of heavy because of the guys that you have on the field, the running backs and the tight ends. And it's the ebbs and flows of the season. In a couple weeks, we could see them start to lean heavy on the wide receivers again. It's about who you're scheming up against. And in preparing for who you're scheming up against, the Bills are taking on the Browns in Week 16. They've got Myles Garrett, the best pass rusher in the game because of his explosiveness and his get-off. He's 1.5 sacks away from beating the single-season record. How do you prepare for a guy like him?
Well, you have to make, adjustments is a light term. He's one of those guys that dictates a whole game plan. And kudos to the guy. Like, he's playing exceptional football, and yes, he's 1.5 sacks away, and believe me, the guys are cognizant of that. You have to change protection schemes, you have to change protection rules, and you have to mitigate these guys' strengths. And I think what we've seen is time and time again, Joe Brady's been able to do that, especially in the past 4 or 5 weeks, right? So, it's going to be one of those things that it's going to keep the play callers up at night, trying to put these guys in the best situation, not these guys being the Bills. And really trying to not let a guy like that get going, because he is one of those transcendent, exceptional football players. You have to give the guys flowers. You truly do. And it'll be up to the guys to not only scheme him, but match his competitive spirit and technique, and then just kind of find a will to way to win.
Yeah, the Bills were successful against TJ Watt. They did not allow a sack on Josh Allen against the Steelers, a top 5 defensive line, and they did that with chipping TJ Watt. So it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is for Myles Garrett. Garrett says, "I've seen everything." So whatever the Bills dream up, maybe he's seen it before, but maybe not as well. Mitch, we want to thank you for helping us break down the last couple weeks for the Bills as we look ahead to the final 3 weeks in the season.
Thank you, Maddy. Appreciate it.
All right, don't go anywhere, because coming up next, Chris Brown has the latest stadium update. We're talking about the newest designs.
Welcome back to Buffalo Bills Weekly. Chris Brown here now with Senior Vice President of Stadium Design, Frank Cravotta, to kind of discuss some of the latest things that are happening across the street at new Highmark Stadium. And look, with the winter weather coming, I know we still got people working hard over there. Does it slow down to any degree in the winter season?
Not really. I mean, if you look outside right now, if you look in the facade, they really slowed down. It's about 90% done. So if you're walking by, driving by, it may look like it's slow, but there's a whole host of activity going on inside the facility.
We know the grass field will be heated to keep the ground from freezing, let the growing season go all through the colder months when most grass around here hibernates for the winter. But does it still get heated through this winter when there's no playing going on it?
No, we shut it down.
You do shut it down?
Yeah,
okay.
We just shut it down a few weeks ago, and it will go into a hibernation phase now. Looking then to get it up and running early in the spring so we can actually get that going earlier with the heating system and then the grow lights that we can bring on top of it as well.
So I know you said more is happening inside the stadium than on the outside, so less visibility to the people driving by saying what's going on. So what is going on the inside at this point in time?
A ton. Tile work, mill work, some signage packages, lighting. The finishes are really starting to come together. So, and really that's happening from a vent level, below ground, right up through the top. So if you go to the 300 level right now, still looks like a little rough, as far as drywall, things like that. Down in the locker room, the final flooring's in, the lockers themselves are in, we're testing lighting. So it just depends where you are in the building, but really, really busy inside.
And one of those finishing touches coming down the pike here is signage, right? Like some of the signs are going to start to get mounted inside the stadium. We're really getting to the end stages.
We're getting close. Yeah, the first Highmark Stadium sign in the North Bowl went up. So that was the first of 6 main naming right signs. Those are the big ones, so they've been in production for a while. And then we'll start to see all host of different signage show up.
And then the concession stands, those are frequented awful lot by fans during games, and they want to know what those are going to look like. So I guess they're going in, number one, but number two, Frank, are they going to have a different look from the conventional ones that we've seen in the old stadium? Bigger, wider, more registers? What are we looking at?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
And different types. So you have a marketplace where you're going to go into the marketplace, have different options. We have iFi technology, which is a quick serve credit card, get a quick beer. We have portables. We have all sorts of different ways to serve our fans. So some of those marketplaces are huge, where you have 4 different types of options within a single marketplace. But if you just wanted to grab a soda or a beer, you can go and do that quickly. So really looking forward to that experience for our fans.
Well, Frank, thanks for the time. You and your crew maybe take a holiday break and then get right back in.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Sure thing. That's Senior Vice President of Design, Frank Cravotta, joining us. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to take a closer look at Bills-Browns in-game preview. Stay with us here on Buffalo Bills Weekly.
Welcome back to Buffalo Bills Weekly. The Bills are getting ready for their final road game of the regular season with a matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders will get the start for Cleveland. Head coach Sean McDermott knows how to scheme for rookie quarterbacks. Since 2019, the Bills are 9-3 against rookie quarterbacks. They allow an average of 13.6 points per game and force 2 takeaways a game. McDermott is so good at confusing looks pre-snap, having rookie quarterbacks' heads spinning as the ball is getting snapped.
Yeah, but the key there is to get them in long down and distance situations first. Then you can spin that dial and really cross up a rookie QB. So I think the key here is to get rookie running back Quinshon Judkins on the ground. He is a load. He's a tackle breaker. Buffalo's run defense really has to get back to the way they played against Pittsburgh, and the week after that when they really held the run game down of their opponent. Got to do that here to put Shedeur Sanders in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, because he does have a tendency to hold on to the ball. That should lend opportunities to the Bills defense to get some sacks.
Buffalo's run defense struggled against the Patriots in the first half, allowing 177 yards on the ground. Much better, though, in the second half, allowing just 69. Cleveland's strength is on their defense. That's because they're led by the best pass rusher in the game in Myles Garrett. He is their motor with his relentless effort and incredible get-off. He's just 1.5 sacks away from beating the single-season record, which is set at 22.5. How do you let Myles Garrett not spoil your game plan?
Well, you got to commit 2 people to him on every single play, and previous opponents have done that to try to keep him from wrecking the game. Simply put, he cannot be blocked one-on-one. He is just simply too good. So you have, whether it's a tight end and an offensive tackle, 2 offensive linemen, a back helping an offensive tackle, 2 guys on him every single play wherever he is in the formation.
Garrett has said, I've seen it all. I've seen the chipping, I've seen the double teams, I've seen the triple teams. So we'll see if Buffalo can throw something that he's never seen at him before. It's the race to the playoffs. It is heating up. Just 3 weeks remaining in the regular season, and Buffalo has a chance to punch their ticket to the postseason with a win this weekend and either a Houston loss or a Colts loss. But you don't want to rely on other teams to get you to the postseason, Chris.
Right, so keep stacking wins. And look, the division is still in play, but the Patriots are in the driver's seat there. They just have to win games, and they can outdistance the Bills. Not enough time to catch up. But I will say this. The incentive is still there for the Bills to keep stacking wins because the wild card race is just as tight right now. Very tightly packed teams there. You have to keep winning to ensure your playoff ticket.
Most definitely. With a win, Buffalo would be 5-3 on the road this season. We want to thank you for tuning into Buffalo Bills Weekly. For Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. We'll see you next time.